To most of us, this fire means warmth and light. But to the people of Lytton and Monte Creek and the surrounding First Nation communities, this fire means destruction and pure hell. Poof. All gone. In 2021, British Columbia has witnessed 1,600 wildfires, burning nearly 8,700 square kilometers of forests. Just like that, in a blink of an eye, British Columbia was left with scarred mountain ranges, charred rolling valleys, and burnt down communities. So what was supposed to stop the rain? Instantly, our forests were reduced to a pile of kindling, going from forest greens to charcoal blacks. All that stands now are communities and forests of burnt matchsticks. H2O is a beautiful thing. It feeds and sustains all life on this planet. However, water was not our friend in British Columbia, Canada in 2021. No. The water you and I know every day was not the same water on that day of the floods. No, by a long shot. This water was angry. On that day, our rivers, our lakes, our dikes were no match for pushing back the rains. But it wasn't just the rain. We know what rain is here in British Columbia. But what we did not know was, what is this thing we call atmospheric river? Let alone one after another after another. We had no warning systems that day. The warning system on that day was a loud knock on the door in the middle of the night, followed by someone shouting, "Get out now!" That was the warning system. In a moment's notice, the rivers went from serene postcard moments, something you'd see in a tourism commercial, to whitewater rapids, bursting banks, rerouting rivers, ripping out highways, tearing down bridges, swallowing up neighborhoods, and spitting out homes. It was that bad. It was a domino effect of destruction. Then we have our friends in the Sumas Prairie, in around the community of Abbotsford, British Columbia. They went from a beautiful day of grazing cows, tractors pulling, roosters calling, to a night of chaos and screams in a moment's minute. Now, life in the Sumas came all about saving the animals, seeking high ground, using escape routes, now riverbeds, vehicles swimming for their lives in what was the rebirth of an old lake. Today, come hell or high water, we for one are going to deliver, and we need you to pitch in. Let's do something incredible today. Let's feel good for change. Because we cannot let this become, not on our watch, another cold case disaster in BC's history.
Hi-ho, oh hi.
My name is Stuart Patrick Jr. from New Toronto and Merritt, BC. I'm doing prayer, dance, and prayers for hell or high water, all my relations.
My name is Greg Girard. I am your co-bro founder with my brother Colin of the award-winning travel and adventure website, ehCanadaTravel.com. My brother and I are small town and tourism consultants and very, very proud Canadians. And we wear both of those badges very proudly right here on my shoulder. In 2021, my brother and I were on evacuation alert 3 times and evacuation order once because of the BC fires and floods. Yes, we too were chased out of the town by the very same river which for decades brought the community of Merritt so much adventure, so much joy, fun, and music. That very same river, it turned rogue on us that day of the floods, washing away a section of the community, forging new river routes where neighborhoods once stood, and ripping up the infrastructure like there was no tomorrow. It turns out there was no tomorrow. When the waters finally subsided and the infrastructure was back in place to some degree, we got the okay to come back home. We were one of the lucky ones because we had a home, a job, and a life to come back to. Fast forward to today, Almost 4 months later after the floods and 9 months later since the fires burned down our forests in the village of Lytton and Monte Creek, thousands of British Columbians are still displaced to this very day. So many are still couch surfing across Canada. How can we possibly forget about these neighbors and families so easily? How could we leave these communities in such a bad spot? We shouldn't, we wouldn't, we couldn't, and we can't. This is a real life devastation. It is urgent. It is our and your backyard. Tonight we are aiming to raise $3 million with your help. Yes, you heard us right. Rebuilding families and communities is not cheap. A group of 4 of us, Melvina White, Kenny Hess, my brother Colin, and myself, decided enough was enough and we wanted to do something about it. Today, with the help of over 40 international, national, regional, and local musicians, 5 celebrity hosts, and a boatload of federal, provincial, and regional dignitaries, as well as many locals, agree with us. Enough is enough. And they want to do something about it too. And we have come together, and now it's up to you. Every 2 hours, a new host will lead you through the telethon. For my hour of hosting, I want you to buckle in and get ready, because we are about to settle the score with the 2021 BC fire and floods. Yes, we are going to go 12 rounds with this bad boy, and we're going to win. The most costly severe weather event in Canadian history has met its match in Merritt, Lytton, Abbotsford, Princeton, Monte Creek, and the affected First Nation communities. Surely, our David and Goliath battle of recovery deserves your generosity. Let's start earning your love with our first musical performance. Sean Hogan is a CCMA, SCMA, and WCMA award-winning songwriter and roots country recording artist. And he will be performing his song appropriately titled Come Hell or High Water to kick off this very important event.
Ajo apsituki spumukina.
Your breath.
Disaster leaves you helpless
Till you reach for higher ground.
Faith, friends, and hope held strong. I know you can bet.
I know you can bet.
Come hell or high water, gonna be right there with you. Come hell or high muddy water, gonna see what love can do. I heard sacred ancient drumming.
I felt and shared your pain.
Saw your family and illusion.
Sure as every valley has 2 sides.
Some canyons long and dark at night.
You won't walk alone. Did you ever slip or fall? Oh, no matter what. Come hell or high water, gonna be right there with you. Come hell or high muddy water, gonna see what love can do. You think you're taking on so much and you're standing on the brink. Yeah, you've been standing on the brink. I know. Come hell or high water, gonna be right there with you. Come hell or high muddy water,
Welcome back to the Hell or High Water Telethon. We will only take a minute. Oh, hold on. It's going to be 2 minutes. We're going to take 2 minutes of your time. For 2 minutes, we need you to focus Canada. We need you to concentrate because this part of the telethon is about you, the viewer. There are many ways you can help families and gift the telethon before 10 p.m. tonight. One, you can go to the www.hellorhighwater.ca website and donate directly. Sounds simple. Two, you can call the number on your screen and talk to a real person. Imagine that. Three, you can text to give on your phone by using our text to give numbers. At the Hell or High Water fundraiser, you can give in many different ways. You can give a lot, you can give a little, it all counts. And get this, when you give, you can select which community you would like your gift to go towards, including, just check it off, Merritt, Abbotsford, Princeton, Monte Creek, Lytton. Just check those off and you're ready to go. Or you can donate to them all. And the funds will be divided up amongst them appropriately. Plus, you get a tax receipt, no harm, no foul, everyone wins, you did good, enjoy the show. It's that simple. One question after you've donated. Did you pay it forward? This fundraising thing everyone's talking about works a lot better when you help and participate. So please go to your social media pages and challenge your friends and your families to match or beat your donation. Tell them about this cool telethon going on right now on websites, social media, and TV, and they've got, a little bit of a wacky host at it too. Bring them on. If we all did this one little gesture, thousands of families would be a better and happier place. The largest disaster in Canadian history deserves Canada's attention. We cannot let this be swept under the rug, filed away like another, BC cold case disaster. Not on our watch, it's not going to happen. We are better than that. We are proud British Columbians and Canadians. For the next 12 hours, we will be more Canadian than ever before. We will sing, we'll talk, we'll smile, and yes, we're going to cry. We will ask others to phone, text, and donate online. The words please, thank you, and sorry will be repeated many times over tonight because that is how Canadians roll when we want to get things done. To get the latest telethon totals, please go to www.hellorhighwater.ca website. Book author Courtney C. Stevens once wrote, "You meet Noah after the flood, you think, what a brave visionary man. You meet Noah before the flood and you're thinking, a little bit of a nut job." Perspective and timing matters. Please do not judge our communities on what you cannot see or possibly understand. But judge us today on what you are seeing in our music, in our stories, and our resiliency. Listen to the messages and the urgency. Think about it. It's quite truly amazing that 4 small communities have the determination to host an event of this size and magnitude after a major disaster. Everyone cheers for the underdog. Surely you can cheer for the underdogs on this special day. The floods and fires have gone, and so has the media. Out of sight, out of mind, I guess it's that sort of concept. The thousands of still displaced families of Merritt, Lytton, Abbotsford, Princeton, Monte Creek, and the surrounding First Nation communities are no longer part of the media news cycle. They're not even part of the discussion. Yet the problems are bigger today than they ever have been. The stories are sadder today than they ever have been. The loss is greater, and yet nothing. Sometimes I gotta wonder, did I miss a memo somewhere along the line? So it looks like it is up to us again. You, us, me, musicians, everybody, to make a difference and to send a strong message. Let's all participate in being part of change. Nudging, poking, sharing this telethon, paying it forward, challenging, and or trash talking with your friends if that's what it's going to take to change lives. Do whatever it takes. Join our cause for good. And why we're all going to do this, you're probably going to ask. You're probably asking me right now. Simple. Because you are Canadians. Many of you call British Columbia your home province. It is what we do. We look after each other. Our next performance is two-time CMAA award winners, Jetty Road, one of Australia's country music's most beloved trios. 2022 marks 17 years together as a band on a journey that are really kicked off busking on the streets of Australia's legendary Tamworth Country Music Festival. Can you believe it? They were busking at one time. They've come a long way since those days and recently achieved an Australian Recording Industry Association Music Awards #1 country album. They've taken their music to the world stage with multiple world tours, including multiple tours to Canada. Kudos. They have even recorded 2 studio albums to Canada. Kudos. And they were thrilled when they asked to take part in the Hell or High Water fundraiser. So please, let's welcome to the stage, Jetty Road.
Hey everyone! Well, it's Jetty Road here. From Australia. All the way from Australia, yes. Well, we just want to say we love you, Canada. You feel like family to us. You're our second home. And we have so many fond memories of touring in BC and especially playing at the Merritt Mountain Fest in 2011. It was such a good time, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Now, when we heard about these devastating fires and floods that you guys in BC have had, our hearts went out to you. We know all too well the effect that these things can have on communities, wildlife. It's devastating. So we jumped at the chance to get on, and we wanted to play for you and say hi and just put the shout out to everyone around that please to give generously. Donate as much as you can. It really means a lot. And it means a lot, but also every dollar counts in cases like this. So please give generously to hellorhighwater.ca, and we hope to be back in your area of the world one day soon. See ya. We're going to do a song now that we wrote on one of our tours throughout Canada. I think it was in 2010, and we wrote this with one of your very own, Mr. Jason McCoy from the Roadhunters. This one's called I'm a Dreamer. 1, 2, here we go. You see clouds, I see the blue. You see walls, I won't run through. You see old, I see brand new. 'Cause I'm a dreamer. Alright. You see rain, I see rainbow. You say it's over, I say it ain't so. You see grass, I'll find you a four-leaf clover. 'Cause I'm a dreamer. 'Cause baby, I'm a dreamer. I'm a head in the clouds, make believer. 'Cause baby, I'm a dreamer. Yeah. You place limits in your mind. I see mountains on there to climb, taking the view one day at a time. 'Cause I'm a dreamer. 'Cause baby, I'm a dreamer. I'm a head in the clouds, make believer. 'Cause baby, I'm a dreamer. Yeah. Do 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 do.
child, oh, don't lose the magic. Be a dreamer. Life is sweet if you only choose it. Yeah. 3, 4. 1, 2, here we go. Do 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 do. Ooh, I'm a dreamer. Make believer. Yeah. 'Cause I'm a dreamer. Yeah, I'm a dreamer. Do 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 do. I'm a dreamer. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, guys.
I am sure you have all heard about the Abbotsford flooding in the Sumas Prairie. The region experienced an unheralded 3 atmospheric rivers. What's an atmospheric river, you might say? Well, we had the same question. We had no idea what it was until the floods came. Let me give you a little insight. An atmospheric river is a long and narrow stream. It's a formation which forms in the atmosphere. It's very much like, let's say, a huge river in the sky. And it's holding a large amount of water, waiting for the right conditions to drop a great volume of rain in a short period of time. This phenomenon creates great quantities of rain that can create massive flooding. And this is what Abbotsford experienced. In Abbotsford, just in the month of November, 540 millimeters of rain fell on the British Columbia Valley. You see, Abbotsford is a floodplain held together by a series of dikes, which on this day and on this night, it could not hold back the water. Lindsay Lockhart and her family, they work a small farm in the Sumas Prairie. She joins me tonight in the virtual studio to share her frightening experiences and challenges in a program we are calling The People of the BC Fires and Floods. This is a true story. It's raw. We didn't put any spin on it. It's all on the table on this one. This next story is one full of challenges, comebacks, love, and sorrow. It's time to get real, people.
Hi everyone. I just wanted to jump on here. A lot of people have been reaching out. It's been really a really hard couple days. We just got word, however, good news that our horses are okay. I was worried and kind of up all night wondering about them. We're functioning on a couple hours of sleep, so I'm a little emotional and all over the place, but we have our goats here with us at my parents'. We've got Millie, one of our pigs. We have our cats. We have our dog. And now hearing that the horses are okay was a huge sigh of relief. We've been watching all the live press conferences and talking to neighbors. There is one neighbor left in the Arnold area that I'm in contact with. Things seem to be getting better, but kind of minute by minute things change. It was a very traumatic evacuation, to say the least. We had to leave Murphy because it was like minute by minute changing, and if we stayed any longer, we almost didn't make it out, Ben and I, so we didn't really have a choice. So I'm hoping that he's found higher ground, but I don't know. We're just kind of waiting to see what happens over the next day or two, and I'm assuming it's going to be a couple days before we can go back to the house, but it sounds like our house is underwater. So yeah, we're just trying to process everything, but thank you all for reaching out. It means a lot. We're just taking it minute by minute at this point. Our kids are good. They have really no idea what's going on, so that's a good thing. But yeah, we appreciate all the love and support. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lindsay, for joining us here on the Hell or High Water Telethon to share your Abbotsford, BC flood stories and experiences as a special guest on a feature that we are calling The People of the BC Fires and Floods. So, Lindsay, let's get right to it. So maybe you can introduce yourself to us a little bit and tell us something special about life on the Sumas Prairie.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me. My name is Lindsay Lockhart. I have a young family. I have 2 young kids and my husband, and we actually moved to the prairie this summer in June. So we searched for years and years and years, about 7 years, for a property that we could call our forever home and raise our kids on. A little hobby farm was kind of the dream, and we finally found it, and we're very happy.
So that sort of leads us back to the days that we all have very vivid in our memories. Let's go back to the morning on the Sumas Prairie of the flood, and maybe you can walk us through the first few days of the flood and maybe share of how it all unfolded and your story behind it.
Yeah, so like I said, we just moved here in June. So we weren't familiar with like a rainy season or anything like that here on the prairie. We were aware that we moved to a floodplain, and we were aware that there was floods in the 90s, but we have family that lives on the prairie, and we weren't even fathoming anything like this could happen. So on the Monday, it was raining very, very heavily on the weekend before, and we were kind of just naive and oblivious and just thought like, oh, our front yard will have some pooling of water and stuff. So we started kind of moved the horses around a little bit because the backfield started to have a little bit of a channel through it, but nothing that made us worry at all. So on the Monday evening, I got a call from my uncle who lives on the prairie on McDermott, and he said, you guys should maybe put a plan in place to get your animals evacuated if possible, just to be safe. And it was then that I was like, what is this actually something that we have to worry about? And he said, well, I'm not sure, but just in case, then at least you have a plan in place for when something does happen, if it does. I don't have a trailer for my horses. So I called whoever I could, and I had 3 people jump on board to say, yep, we can come get your horses as soon as possible. Let us know when and where. And by that time already at 6:30 on Monday, no trailer could get into us. Whoa. Everything was already, all the roads and everything were already basically overflooded. And we kind of knew that because on Monday when I went to pick up my daughter from school, she goes to McMillan in East Abbotsford. Getting home was already an issue in my truck. So I phoned my husband who was at work, and he drives a car. And I said, if you're not going to get home, if you don't leave now, you're not getting your car home. And so that was 2:30 and he left, and we drove around for 2 hours trying to find a way for him to get home. And we ended up having to leave his car at Arnold Church because even by then it was too high for a car to get through. So Monday night, we went to bed at about 1, and I just kind of checked the front yard, and the water had started to fill our front yard, but it was quite a ways from the house, so we weren't really concerned. And then at about 2:30, I woke up, and it was about 3/4 of the way up the yard, which was a huge difference. And so it was at that time that I woke my husband up, and we started moving everything. So it was about 6 a.m. that the SWAT team came through. It was still pitch black. The SWAT team came through in their big armored truck, and went on the intercom and said, like, get your family out immediately, evacuate now, over the PA system. And so it was a scary thing. So at that point, my husband and I looked at each other, and we were like, oh my goodness, like this is bad. Like we never really thought, we'd be like stuck, sheltered at home and be okay. But we were like, this is something that we have to be worried about. So my husband said, go grab the kids and the dog, get in the truck, and I'll handle everything else. So he started like putting the pump in the crawl space. He started kind of shutting off all of the electrical while I got the kids in the truck. And that was kind of traumatic for them because I ended up just like pulling them by their ankles out of the bed because it was scary.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that it was dark at that point because my kids didn't get to see the water. So they weren't as affected by it as some of the kids who I talked to that evacuated around like 9 a.m. where it was like clearly evident you could see everything. So we got the kids out, we dropped them off at my parents in Chilliwack, the kids and the dog, and that was at about 7 a.m. And then we turned around to come back for the animals because they were all locked in the barn because we had no idea the extent of what it was going to be like. And we hit roadblocks coming back, and the police actually didn't let us through. So we ended up finding a third roadblock that we just blew through because we were like, if we don't get home, our animals will die. They're locked in the barn. Like, they don't have a shot. Like, I was mad that I didn't think to just open all the barn doors just to give them a chance. Mm-hmm. So there was no option. We had to get back. So we got back, and we have 2 horses that I evacuated. Like, I ran along the side of the mountain, and one of the neighbors who lives on the hill said, like, you can bring them here for as long as you need. So I did that. Luckily, I had set that up on Monday night when I couldn't get the trailers in. Mm-hmm. And then we have 2 potbelly pigs. I managed to get one of them. The other one I didn't. We ended up having to leave him because he just swam away. And I had known that pigs are good swimmers, so I was okay kind of leaving him. But that was hard. But we got one of our pigs. We got our 2 miniature goats, and we had to leave. Of course, we had 47 chickens at the time, so we put them all in the barn and just hoped for the best. There was higher ground, and we threw kind of a bunch of hay bales in there and stuff, thinking like, if they need to get up on these, surely the water can't come up this high. While we were at my parents' in Chilliwack, we had no idea what was going on because for 3 days we couldn't get back. And so it was just like this kind of, we were getting pictures from the neighbors who stayed on the hill, who were kayaking down the road past people's homes, just kind of giving pictures to whoever they could. So based on the pictures, we thought that in the house, it would be flooded up to about counter height on the main floor. So it was kind of this roller coaster of emotions. Like, okay, we were able to save most of our animals except our one pig, and hoping he would be okay. And then seeing the damage to the home, and just like, it was a lot to handle. And then when we finally got back to the home, our pig ended up being okay. He must have swam to the neighbor's property and hung out on the top deck and just, so he made it, which was great. And the horses ended up being okay. So we got back to the house at about day 3, I think, on the Friday, and just started gutting everything. So it came up about on the main floor. We have about a 4.5-foot crawl, so it filled the crawl space. And that's where the furnace and the hot water tank and that built-in back were all kind of ruined, but it came up about a foot on the main. So enough to do enough damage where it all the flooring and take out all the drywall. So we got to that really fast, and then got a whole bunch of fans and dehumidifiers in there. And then we got evacuated again for the second time.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So then at which time we were stuck in Chilliwack because they put the Tiger Dam up. So we were stuck in Chilliwack. I think that lasted a week. Meanwhile, we were trying to get back and forth to feed our animals that were still here. And we were on my parents' city lot with our 2 goats, our 2 pigs, 3 Rottweilers from our neighbors, our dog, and our 2 cats. It was just like a gong show. Mm-hmm. And then they ended up getting out at my parents' house while we were here at the farm doing demo, and it was just like animal control got involved, and it was, so it was a little bit of a nightmare. And on top of it, because the Tiger Dam and the highway were closed, we had to drive the 3 hours all the way around, 3 hours there and 3 hours back. So we had to go from Chilliwack through Agassiz, around through Mission, and back to Abbotsford every morning, and then do however much work we could until dark, and then do the 3 hours back every night while our 2 kids stayed with my parents in Chilliwack. So it made for really long days, and the ups and downs of the first river, then the second atmospheric river, then the third atmospheric river.
Yeah. So what is the situation now as you move through your recovery process?
So we were back in our home. We were very lucky. We got trades that came out immediately and helped us with drywall and putting our flooring in and everything like that. We had some of our flooring was donated by End of the Roll in Abbotsford. Like we had a bunch of people reach out and help us out. So that really helped with like the initial money needing to be spent for a new furnace and like all the major things that cost a lot of money that could get us back in our home quickly. So we were really lucky in that sense. We had so much support.
I wanted to send a huge thank you to Cody Lynn and Paige Manning and Travelland RV. Cody Lynn and Paige have been on the ground running since this happened and have just been a blessing for us and so many other people. Paige and her husband Caleb actually came and disposed of all of our animals who had passed away for us. And Cody Lynn has just been at the front lines communicating with us every day. Starting from the days that we couldn't get back to our farm, she was communicating with her brother-in-law who stayed in the area, who was coming and feeding our animals and giving us pictures of our home. And my cousins at Travelland RV dropped off an RV for us, so we no longer have to make the 2.5-hour trek to Chilliwack 2 times a day or the 45 minutes to White Rock 2 times a day. We will start staying at our home and get our kids back to their routine, get Charlie back to school. So we are beyond thankful for all of your help.
William Shakespeare once said, "Never be so busy as to not think of others." That's what we are going to do here, is to think of others. And if you're busy and life's a little chaos, take a deep breath, relax, and enjoy us and the entertainment we have for you tonight. I am so big on this donor challenge concept. They're so fun to watch. It's interesting to see who puts it out there. They create innovative ways among groups to compete for a good cause. So it will come as no surprise when I tell you that my brother and I have challenged the tourism businesses and government tourism association. Yep, we've come up. We're going to put the money where the mouth of our little company, the little company that could, Hey Canada Marketing Group. We donated $250, and we challenge every tourism business and government tourism association to match or beat our donation. This is another challenge between us, people tourism, and government-funded public tourism. And I know who I would bet on. We are fortunate to have many locals step up and tell their stories about the BC fires and floods. We're so lucky that they're going to let emotions come out. We are also thankful to the many international, national, regional, and local dignitaries who are stepping up as well, representing their regions as they should. Our next guest is Dan Albus. He's the Conservative Member of Parliament for the riding of Central Okanagan and Similkameen and Nicola. Dan is currently the Shadow Minister for Environment and Climate Change. He also represents the flooded regions of Merritt, BC, Canada. So let's welcome Dan Albus to our virtual stage.
Hi everyone, Dan Albus here, speaking to you from Ottawa, where I just spoke in the House of Commons on behalf of Merritt, Princeton, and all of the other rural areas of British Columbia affected by the flooding. These small communities need funds to protect their water system from the threats of our changing climate, yet the aid that especially our rural communities need to survive, to rebuild, and hopefully move forward moves so slowly. I'm fearful that many will fall through the cracks in bureaucracy despite the fact that the users of these systems all pay taxes to the provincial and federal governments. Now, I'm doing all I can to try to improve and streamline these processes, and I'm hopeful in the days, weeks, and months going forward that as communities like Princeton and Merritt try to rebuild, the federal government in Ottawa will be there to support these communities. Now, that's a challenge we need to be up for as Canadians. And it's a challenge that the organizers of today's telethon are tackling head on to ensure that our fellow citizens are supported in their hour of need and that no one gets left behind. Now, failure is not an option for every one of these citizens who are facing a loss, extremely challenging time in British Columbia. And I know that if we all rally together, we can move from survive to thrive. And I want to take this opportunity to thank the organizers and all the artists that made this telethon possible. Amazing work. Thank you as well to the Rotary Club of Merit. As a fellow Rotarian, I appreciate the Rotarian commitment to service above self. Special appreciations for all of the local mayors and councilors, regional district directors, First Nation chiefs and council, and of course, my provincial and federal colleagues for all they've done to support their communities. Let's keep on it. November 2021 changed the lives of so many in British Columbia, and they need our help to rebuild their lives. So please consider donating during this telethon. And if you already have, thank you. I'll keep standing up for you in Ottawa. Let's keep doing what we can to make sure no one falls through the cracks. Let's work together.
Oh my God. I am so excited about our next guest and the performance on so many different levels. I grew up with this band in my early teens. I bought their albums. I know the words of their songs, or I used to anyways. You know them as Chilliwack. This iconic band has released 12 albums, received 15 gold and platinum certifications, and produced hits like Lonesome Mary, Fly at Night, Arms of Mary, Baby Blue, Communication Breakdown, My Girl, and What You Gonna Do When I'm Gone. It's obvious Chilliwack is still winning over young classic rockers and delighting long-time fans now that you have just released their latest CD called There and Back. It's exciting. I had the pleasure of sitting down with Bill Henderson of Chilliwack in our virtual studio. And we talked about the band, the BC Fires and Floods, the fundraiser, and the story behind the song he is about to share with us today. It was a special moment for me to hear the Chilliwack story from the man himself, Bill Henderson. Please put your hands together, stomp your feet on the floor, get up off the couch, and welcome Bill Henderson, Chilliwack, and his special guests to our Hell or High Water virtual stage. Welcome to the Hell or High Water Telethon and Concert, Mr. Bill Henderson of the award-winning Canadian rock and roll band Chilliwack. Bill, let's dive right into it with our first question. You, Jerry, Ed, and Gord have been busy lately. You've been connecting with this new big growing phenomenon with the young classic rockers. You're delighting us old guys with the longtime fans with your latest release, There and Back. Maybe you could tell us a little bit where the band's going and what's next for the band.
Well, the band started a whole long time ago. And this particular iteration's been together for quite a while now, a decade or so. And actually with Jerry, I've been playing with Jerry since, he's the drummer, right? I've been playing with Jerry since '85. So he's missed one gig in the whole thing, and that was the last one we played, which was, he had COVID symptoms, right? He had symptoms, okay. So he couldn't do it. He would have come for sure. He's come sick, other times, and yep. But puking on his floor tom and still keeping going, man. Yeah. That's what we do. We don't miss gigs. Yep. But anyway, we're just we got a vinyl release of There and Back. So There and Back was the first record Chilliwack ever made that was made for CD. Okay. So usually, we had CD reissues of all of our vinyl. This time we're doing a vinyl reissue of our CD. And it's, one of the things we get into is that Chilliwack, what the meaning of the word Chilliwack is. Like it's a word from the Chilliwack people, the native people in that area, right? And we used to think it meant Valley of Many Streams, but found out that it means as far as your canoe can go. Oh, wow. Because that valley, which as we know was flooded in November, the Abbotsford's in that valley, the whole Fraser Valley going all the way up to Chilliwack was wetlands, and some of it still is, but I guess it was I guess it was originally mainly wetlands with a lake in it and everything, right? And so you could take your canoe all through there. You could fish. You could go all the way up to Chilliwack. After you got to Chilliwack, you couldn't go any farther. That was it. So as far as your canoe can go is Chilliwack. You know, and so far this band, Chilliwack, our canoe is still afloat. So we have not beached it yet, and we'll see how far we go.
Yeah, and I love that album cover.
Cool. Yeah, it's fun. Yeah.
With using your guitars as paddles is brilliant.
Yeah, that was a local guy on Salt Spring here that did that, John Malcolm.
Okay.
Great artist. Yeah.
So Bill, you saw I guess you could, it's pretty hard to not see it, but the devastation, the destruction, the havoc the BC fires and floods have had on a lot of the southern interior here in BC, and of course the mainland that we just covered there, Merritt, Lytton, Printon's, Abbotsford. So what are you seeing, or what did you hear, or what are you feeling as you watch this all unfold as our province was being flooded and burnt down?
Yeah. Wow, it's scary.
Yeah.
It's very scary. And I live on Salt Spring Island, and it's in a rain shadow, which means at least in the summertime we get very little rain. So for the last, I don't know, like 6-8 years, it's been getting really dicey. We've had orange skies a lot. They've been burning around Nanaimo and stuff like that. We haven't, it hasn't hit our island. Small ones have hit the island, but not a major wildfire yet. So, you know, that we're very aware of that. And we're doing what we can to mitigate, you know, make sure that doesn't happen. I'm lucky the woods around me have got a lot of salal in them,
Okay.
which will slow fire down. But you know, this is happening, and it's happening everywhere, and it is scary. There's no two ways about it. We gotta do something.
Yeah.
We gotta clean up our act.
You wouldn't find somebody to agree with you more. Why, you know, Bill, when we were first reaching out to you, we were very, very honored. For myself, I've been a big fan for decades. Why was it so important for you and the boys of Chilliwack to participate in this the Hell or High Water fundraiser?
I feel like, and I think we all feel that, you know, we're not as young as we were. We're not just into our career and just trying to make the most of it and all of that. I really feel a strong need to help our communities. Mm-hmm. And I just feel that way, and there's not a lot that I can do. I don't have a lot. These are my skills. Music that's my skill, right? Yeah. And so and the way I look at it is, you know, I've thought about it quite a bit. Like what am I doing that's of any value? What is it about music that is valuable? Is there real value? And you know, I really think that you know, what we do is we you know, people who come to our shows, they go away happy. That's what we do. We try to have a good time, and they have a good time, and it's super, super important. That's our community that evening. It was super important to us that they have a great time. And you know, I believe that people who feel good make better decisions. And so when you go further into life, into how they respond to things in their life, if they are happy, if they feel good, then they're in a much clearer minded position. You know, they're not so, we're so beleaguered right now with all this crap that's happening, right? We're just like under so much pressure, everybody. And I think music has a role to play in all of that, where we can go, whoa, let's just relax for a while, let's dance, let's sing, let's feel good, you know?
Yeah. No, I music is very powerful. I think it's extremely powerful. So hence why we're really excited to have you. So Bill, is there anything you would like to say to Canadians before we let you go? And if you would be so kind, share with us a little bit of the background about the song that we're about to play from your group at Chilliwack. Maybe you could give us a little bit of insight on that.
Right. Okay. So yeah, the song I wrote about 8 years ago. My wife and I wrote it. It's called "Take Back This Land." And that title, "Take Back This Land," has become, those words have become a part of our culture, and they're not always what I meant when I wrote that. When you listen to the first verse of the song, you hear what the song's really about, and it's about, you know, when it comes to democracy, which is a word in that song. And Bob Rock, the producer, he said, "Wow, man, you wrote a song with democracy in it. It sounds good." How the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
Anyway, when I think of democracy, I think of proportional representation. I think of people. Let's not have an opposition party. Let's have everybody working together. How about this is a council of wise people from all over Canada, and we're not pitting ourselves against each other. Proportional representation means that when whatever party you vote for, the number of votes that go to that party equals the number of seats, not equals, but, you know, it's used to determine the number of seats that that party has. So you're going to have more parties, and you're going to have to work together, kids. So let's work together. That's what we need to do, right? And the song is really coming from that place. It's about community.
Very, very well said. It is about community. Mr. Bill Henderson of the rock and roll iconic band, producer of many beautiful singles. Thank you so much. And many record golden, beautiful albums. Thank you so much for your time, Bill. Thank you for sharing your expertise. And thank you very much for participating in the Hell or High Water.
Hey,
and again, from all of us, our heart goes out to you. Thank you.
All right, man. Thank you. And thank you for doing this. It's so great you're doing it. I really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
Excellent.
You need our keys at the front?
Yeah.
This tuning with the D.
We're gonna take back this country. We're gonna take back this land. We're gonna bring back our democracy and build Canada again. We're gonna take back this country. We're gonna take back this land. We're gonna bring back the heart and soul of Canada. blue lakes and rivers, were towering mountain peaks, over rolling hills and open plains. The voices ring, I hear the people sing. We're gonna take back this country. We're gonna take back this land. We're gonna bring back our democracy and build Canada again. We're gonna take back this country. We're gonna take back this land. We're gonna bring back the heart and soul of Canada again. We're gonna take back this land. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Take it back, take it back, take it back. Take back this country. Take back this country. Take back this country.
Margaret Mead, a famous anthropologist, once said, "Never believe that a few caring people can't change the world, for indeed, that's all who ever have." When we were discussing the Hell on High Water fundraiser, we wanted to make sure to work with a nonprofit who works directly with the local population, directly with the people affected by fires and floods. No middleman, no red tape, no commission on donations. We didn't want anything to do with that. That is why we are proud to have partnered with the Rotary Club of Merritt. Together, the participating Rotaries and nonprofits in different communities, and now the group at the Hell or High Water fundraiser, are combining resources and fundraiser efforts to raise $3 million for the communities of Abbotsford, Merritt, Princeton, Lytton, and Monte Creek. To explain the donation process further, I was lucky enough and happy to sit down with Leslie Lucy of the Rotary Club of Merritt and discuss their role on the Hell or High Water fundraiser. So please, put your hands together and let's welcome Leslie Lucy to the virtual studio. Welcome to the Hell or High Water fundraiser, Leslie Lucy of the Rotary Club of Merritt. We're so glad to have you here, Leslie, and we're so proud to be working with the Rotary Club of Merritt. So maybe, Leslie, for some of the people out there that are watching from across Canada and across globally, maybe you could introduce yourself a bit and tell us about the Rotary Club of Merritt.
So thank you, Greg. I'm absolutely pleased to be here as well. The Rotary Club of Merritt is a small but mighty, mighty group of 14 people. And they've done a lot of work in this community. I've been here for about 5 years. And when I first moved to Merritt, the one thing I really noticed was all the Rotary signs all over the place on the Rotary Park, the Rotary Bike Park, and how much good work the community has done.
So Leslie, could you please tell us the role that the Rotary Club of Merit will play in the Hell or High Water fundraiser, because it's an important part to the fundraiser, is the role that you're playing. So I think it's important that we tell everyone exactly what the Rotary Club of Merit is doing.
What's been pretty exciting, Greg, we've been here right from day one when it was still a concept. So to have seen what has happened, what the organization, the amount of work that's gone into organizing this from just before Christmas until now is absolutely phenomenal. And the Merit Club is looking after the donations. So the donations will come into Merit, and then from there they'll be dispersed out to the various communities. So Princeton, Lytton, Abbotsford, and of course ourselves, Merit. So
it's quite a process, because you have them, from my understanding, coming from a whole bunch of different ways of coming into the fund. So you're like navigating all of this, right?
Oh, it's been crazy. You know, we've had money from